The root pack. A vegetable's main purpose is to be appealingly big and full of nutrients to attract animals to eat them. Thus, for a group of vegetables to be willing to sell their soul, they'd need an offering of simple mass, which we can clearly see with how large the root pack are. This is reinforced further by the carrot's insistence that it's full of beta-carotene, proving that they are performance-enhanced vegetables. Goopy Le Grande. Everybody wants to be immortal, and it is in Goopy that we see that dream realised. No other boss straight up dies within their boss fight, but Goopy does, and then his consciousness manifests within his own tombstone. We also see him briefly in the end storybook, proving that his physical form also survives. Thus, like most characters looking for immortality within fiction, Goopy sold his soul to the devil. Ribby and Croaks. These guys likely entered into a similar contract to the Cup brothers. As gambling is a main theme within this boss, when looking for funding for their fine dining establishment, they would have made a deal with the devil for the money, with the catch that they lose their souls on a 50-50 coin flip. Hilda Berg. This is a unique boss, as a lot of her phases don't feel like they fit under the base of a blimp-based boss. She is able to transfigure into godlike forms, which resemble star signs and eventually the moon. There are wacky transformations in Cuphead, but this stands out as irregular and are likely connected to her deal. With this in mind, my conclusion is that she became a demigod of the moon and the stars by giving up her soul. Cagney Carnation. It was very hard to find any reason for Cagney to sell his soul, until I realised that the fact he isn't special is the key to his soul contract. He wasn't sentient from the beginning, and the devil gave him a soul with the caveat that he would return to take it back, which is a game the devil is known for playing out of cruelty. Djimmi the Great. Being a genie comes with incredible infinite power, warping reality and effectively becoming a god. This is showcased well within this fight, but forgets the ultimate drawback of being a genie. You are not free, nor can you use your magic for yourself. So what gives? Well, the devil has granted the genie's only wish of being free, but in exchange for his soul, which begs the question, is he truly free? Beppi the Clown. Beppi clearly enjoys amusement parks. Proof of this is that he transforms into every reference to this as he can within the fight. So why would he ever want to stop, to shut off the lights and go home? Well, he doesn't need to, as by selling his soul, he can play on the amusements all day and all night long. Baroness Von Bon Bon. She's pretty cut and dry, a ruthless dictator who orders her people to risk their lives and defend her over a situation that she has put them in. Selling her soul was an easy price to pay if it gave her ultimate power and the right to rule. And with that, she goes against the devil's terms and fights back using her own civilians, just to save her own head, only making a meagre attempt herself when she doesn't have anyone left. Wally Warbles. We know dads will do anything for their sons, just to see their face light up or to give them a hopeful and equipped future, and Wally is no different. His son got the best birthday present he could ever ask for, in a UFO and a laser blaster. He gets to live every child's dream, at only the cost of his father's own soul. Grim Matchstick. Being a drake must be a tough life. Imagine being a glorified lizard, while looking up and seeing cousins of your kind, free to fly wherever they may wish. Grim lived in envy of these dragons, and wished for more. And with the devil offering wings for his soul, how could he resist? Proof of this is in his final phase, where he becomes a Hydra, even though Hydras don't have wings, and thus his true drake form shows through. Rumour Honeybottoms. A bee's main enemies are global warming and hornets, and we have no proof of either of them existing within the game of Cuphead. Thus we have the perfect theory that Honeybottoms sold her soul to stop global warming and protect her hive, or the more sinister idea that she sold her soul to eradicate the entire population of hornets across the Isles of Cuphead. And if the devil was feeling nice, both. Werner Werman. Werner Werman is an isolated rat. There are no other living beings within this boss fight, and it can be assumed that the isolation gets to him as he builds a giant cat mech suit with the ability to autopilot itself and make it seem alive. But that wasn't enough for Mr. Werman, and thus he sold his soul to bring back his fallen rat friends, in the form of ghosts, to have by his side in this cruel world. Captain Brineybeard. Brineybeard has something no other captain has, complete control over the ocean. He just has to whistle, and the sea beast he requires will appear from the deep, on cue, and fight by his side. This is a power on par with gods like Poseidon, superheroes like Aquaman, and, presenters at SeaWorld. I'm sure he had to sell his soul, just like the SeaWorld presenters, to have this power. Cala Maria. Like many before her, Cala Maria doesn't have any reason to have been granted or born with God-given powers, but she does somehow have Medusa's entire skill set, which she obviously got from the devil. But why sell your soul for this? Well, in the Cuphead show, she sings about just this. She reveals that she wants to be known across the 7 seas, and fear of her power is an excellent way of accomplishing this. If you're enjoying the video, make sure you subscribe. There's more like this every week. Dr. Kahl's robot. Infinite energy is a civilization's main goal. Once you have attained that, your potential is infinite. Considering the amount of energy being constantly released by Dr. Kahl's robot and the energy crystals that Dr. Kahl wields, it would not surprise me if he has sold his soul to obtain such power, to maintain his machinery endlessly. And once that machinery fails, he tries to rely on the source, that being the crystals. Sally Stageplay. Nothing strikes me as worthy of selling your soul for in this entire boss fight. She's literally just a random person performing a mediocre stage show to a crowd. But wait a minute, she has a crowd for such a god-awful and boring show. She must have sold her soul for this. The Phantom Express. The problem with trains is that they ride a predetermined route until it ends. But why would it need to end, when you could sell your soul and ride a forever changing and never-ending railway? It's what you'd have to have as a phantom train who also couldn't end. King Dice. Real estate is expensive and hard to come by, especially in hell. I'm sure a casino's wet dream would be to open up in hell, surrounded by the very people it drove there in the first place. But King Dice just couldn't afford the price, and thus a deal with the devil was made. His servitude for a casino, and if he ever failed the devil, his soul would be lost.